In tonight's news edition, TFG Prime Minister said disarmament of illegal weapons will be commenced in Somalia over the next 2 days. Cross-sections of the society across the nations continue expressing joy over the victory of the Ethiopian and the Somali TFG. Over 1.4 million people in South regional states have become beneficiaries of safety net programs over the past year. Good evening to you all. Welcome to ETV News. I'm Grum Tariku. Prime Minister of the Transitional Federal Government of Somalia disclosed today that the disarmament of illegal weapons across Somalia will be commenced over the next 2 days. Get translates the story filed by Getachew Chane.
Following the discussion between President of the Transitional Federal Government of Somalia and clan and religious leaders, TFG Prime Minister Mohammed Gedi held today a closed session with senior officials of the TFG. Briefing local and international journalists, Gedi indicated that the disarmament of illegal weapons will begin over the next 2 days with a view to ensure sustainable peace and stability in Somalia. The Premier said any residents who don't submit illegal weapons by tomorrow will forcibly be disarmed. According to the Prime Minister, armed young Somalis would be given training at various corrective centers and added that they would be offered job opportunities. The Prime Minister also underscored the irrelevance of peace dialogues with international terrorists. Gedi further noted that illegal group and clan organizations are prohibited in the country. However, Gedi said political parties can be established in a democratic manner. The Prime Minister also announces that schools, colleges and universities that have been shut down by the terrorist forces will resume providing services as of tomorrow. He also indicated that various committees are formed to facilitate the full operation of air bases and seaports in the country.
Public in Gode Warada of Somali State have taken to the streets to express support for the measures taken by the Ethiopian government and the victory registered against extremist forces. Dr. Shaul has more on that from Ena.
Addressing the demonstration, Gode Warada Administrator Nur Samsam said the public in the Warada have been supporting the measures taken by the government with a view to safeguarding the sovereignty of the country. He said the public in the Warada during various occasions expressed readiness to stand by the side of the government and provide the necessary support for the effort in defending the country from anti-peace forces. Also on the occasion, head of the Warada's Women Affairs, Adan Abdi Hassan, said women in the Warada had supported the decision previously passed by the parliament to authorize the government in taking measures against terrorists in Somalia. Adan said as the terrorists have now been liquidated, women in Gode Warada will mobilize all efforts towards the country's development. Similarly, Gode Zone Deputy Chairman of the Somali People's Democratic Party, Sadiq Ahmed Abdi, said Somalia had been a safe haven for terrorists that attempted to put the Horn of Africa into chaos over the past 16 years. Representatives of the youth, teachers, and other members of the public in the Warada also expressed readiness to work closely for the country's development.
Muslims residing in Asosa town of Benshangul Gumuz State said they take pride in the Ethiopian Defense Forces that defeated the Union of Islamic Courts, which declared war on the country. Solomon Ababa takes up Walton's dispatch.
While celebrating the Eid al-Adha yesterday, residents of the town, Muhammad Hassan and Sayyida Barikar, said it was gratifying to see the swift defeat of the terrorists. Haji Mubarak Al-Mahdi and Haji Muhammad said on their part stated that the effectiveness of the defense forces in routing the fundamentalists is a source of satisfaction not only to Ethiopians but also to the people of Somalia. They said the intention of the extremists in declaring war on Ethiopia was to sow discord among Muslims and Christians, adding that they would stoutly fight against this destructive mission and poverty. Meanwhile, civil servants in Kamasha Zone said yesterday that the victory attained attests to the bravery of the present generation inherited from its forefathers. They indicated that the victory will also be a lesson to anti-peace and anti-development forces to refrain from provocative acts. In a similar development, cross-sections of the society in the Marcos town of Amhara State said they fully support the measures taken by the Ethiopian government against the extremists to safeguard the sovereignty of the country. They also said the victory over Sharia, an ally of the extremists, for the second time has made them very happy.
Members of various cooperatives and women's associations said they support the counter-offensive measures taken by the government against the Somali extremist forces. Prokurku has what is filed.
Members of the Eqed Credit and Savings Cooperatives in Gambela State said the reversal of the aggression which was declared by the Somali extremists at a time when the equality of nations and nationalities are respected is very pleasing. Cooperative Chairperson Tizazu Kannau and Fikadu Dufera, a member, said on their part that they are ready to stand by the government. They further said the transitional government of Somalia and the Ethiopian Defense Forces should take additional measures if the extremists do not refrain from their wicked acts. Similarly, the Addis Ababa branch office of Tigray Women's Association and representatives of members of the ex-fighter Women's Association said they are delighted by the victory of the Defense Forces. Tigray Women's Association Addis Ababa branch office chairperson Meseret Wandamagany said the victory of the Defense Forces is a pride not only for Ethiopians but for the entire Africa. Ex-fighter Women's Association chairperson Mitslal Haile Selassie on her part said women should struggle to ensure peace, education, health and alleviate poverty. She added the victory of the Defense Forces over the extremist forces who were preparing for the battle over the past 8 months is a source of pride.
Ambassador of Somalia to Ethiopia, Abdul Qadir Farah, called on the international community to support rehabilitation efforts of a significant number of Somalis. The ambassador made the remark on a discussion held at the Mekelle University. Prokurku has in its dispatch.
Speaking at a discussion held in Mekelle University on the current situation of Somalia, Somalian ambassador to Ethiopia Abdul Qadir Farah said the people of Somalia are now entering a new chapter after many years of tribulations. He said Somalis are found in extreme poverty as the country has never undertaken social services and infrastructure development activities over the past 16 years. Currently, he said, the people of Somalia are expressing gratitude to the people and the government of Ethiopia due to the peace and security they are enjoying today. Chief of the Northern Command, Brigadier General Ephraim Bonge, on his part said, the whole peace-loving people are now content by the swift victory of the joint forces. A historian at Mekelle University, Tsagav Kasa, also said the extremists were trying to cover up their problem under the guise of religion, which was not successful. Islamic Affairs Chairman of the Northern Tigray Zone, Sheikh Adam Abdul Qadir, also said the extremists declared war against Ethiopia to cover up their hidden agenda. The State Chief Administrator Tsagai Berhe also stressed the necessity of consensus among parties in a multi-party system on issues of national interest and defending national sovereignty. University students and invited guests attended the discussion held at the Matas Village Hall.
The Ministry of Trade and Industry said over 59,000 tons of cement had been imported by investors since last September. In a similar development, the Ethiopian Petroleum Enterprise disclosed that it has imported over 625,000 metric tons of oil. Here is Kathleen Shaul for the detail.
Head of Public Relations Office head with the ministry, Hailu Abebe, told Ethiopia News Agency that since the government allowed investors to import cement to meet the rising demand for cement, over 70 investors had requested to import the product, out of which 23 have signed agreements. He said 3 importers have so far imported 36,000 tons of cement, while other 3 imported 23,500 tons of cement for their own consumption. According to the head, the import of cement by the investors would play a vital role in stabilizing the cement market and speed up construction. Some 95,000 tons of cement is expected to be imported by early January. Meanwhile, Ethiopian Petroleum Enterprise disclosed that it has imported over 625,000 metric tons of oil to the country in the past 5 months. Public Relations Officer with the enterprise, Damanu Kura, told Ethiopian News Agency that oil demand and supply is increasing through time parallel with the growing economy of the country. Damanu said of the imported oil in the stated period, 44,430 metric tons is imported via Sudan, while 581,161 metric tons through Djibouti. He said the imported oil has currently met the total demand in the country, adding the enterprise would exert utmost efforts to supply quality oil in the future.
Mayor of the Dredar Town Interim Administration, Abdulaziz Mohammed, said conducive environment for investors is created in the town. A symposium aimed at introducing the untapped investment potentials of the town is opened in Dredwa town today. Brokoko presents the story filed by Ikram Bayan.
Speaking at the opening ceremony of a symposium organized to introduce the various investment opportunities of the town, Mayor of the Dredwa Town Interim Administration Abdulaziz Mohammed said the administration is ready to deliver necessary and appropriate support to investors. He said the administration is creating conducive investment climate in manufacturing, hotel and tourism, education and health sectors among others. General Secretary of Ethiopian Employees Federation Tadele Yimer on his part said investors' role is of paramount importance to fulfill the Millennium Development Goals MDGs. Tadele said it's also important to create conducive environment for investors, take appropriate measures against illegal trading as well as carry out structural reform on government offices in the town. During the symposium, investors have also deliberated on the various setbacks in the investment sector and the possible remedies that should be taken. Meanwhile, a trade fair staged for the past 1 week in the town has been concluded today with investors paying a visit to investment areas in the region.
Agriculture and Rural Development Bureau of the South Regional State said over 1.4 million people in 79 waradas of the state have become beneficiary of the safety net program undertaken over the past year. 401 million is allocated for the implementation of the third round safety net program to be carried out as of January 2007. Asden Shal presents the story.
Program Coordinator of the South State Agriculture and Rural Development Bureau, Molla Tekin, told the region's mass media agencies that soil conservation and afforestation activities have been undertaken in 79 food and secured waradas of the state. The coordinator said construction of 181 farmers training centers, 256 water facilities, as well as 280 health posts were carried out over the past year. According to the state's mass media agency, the safety net program undertaken has also helped to eradicate diseases caused by malnutrition. It was also indicated that 1.6 million people in the state would become beneficiaries of the third round safety net program to be carried out as of January 2007 with an outlay of 401 million birr.
Chief Administrator of the Gambela Regional State, Omar Obong, said the coordinated effort of NGOs is crucial to enhance development and good governance endeavors in the state. Speaking at a day-long awareness-raising forum organized by ZOA, an non-governmental organization, the Chief Administrator said the regional state is undertaking various activities by designing a 5-year strategic plan to extricate the public from the various socio-economic problems in the state. General Manager of ZOA Gambela Branch, Solomon Hussein, on his part, said the organization has allocated 3 million birr to rehabilitate 44,000 people who were displaced due to the 2003 conflict in the state. According to Gambela Information Bureau, Solomon further reiterated the importance of coordinated effort of the different non-governmental organizations to sustainably rehabilitate the displaced people in the state. A research and inculcation conference of the Haromaya University said it has approved 124 research projects. The research projects mainly focus on the development of lowland areas. Salomon Ababa has in file.
Research and Inculcation Director with the University, Dr. Tadele Tefera, told Ethiopian News Agency recently that the projects include agricultural economics and extension, animal and plant science, agriculture and engineering, natural resource and education, among others. Dr. Tadele said new research projects on law, technology, health science, economics and administration have also been approved for the first time. He said as 30% of the farmland in the country exists in lowland areas, attention has been given to research activities on the development of lowland areas. He said delay of projects and the lack of vehicles, among others, has a negative impact on the researchers. University President Professor Balai Kasa on his part said that situations will be created to enable the projects to reach the community.
Administration for Refugees and Returnees Affairs disclosed that over 4,500 Sudanese refugees have returned home from refugee camps in Gambela and Benshangul Gumuz states in Ethiopia during last Ethiopian year. Gambela branch office head with the administration, Stefanos Government, told Ethiopian News Agency over the weekend that the refugees who had been sheltered at Bonga and Sharpole camps in Gambela state returned to southern Sudan at their own request due to the relative peace and security in Sudan. He said the repatriation program was facilitated through a tripartite agreement made among the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, the governments of Ethiopia and Sudan. He said the program would also continue in the coming European New Year. There are over 67,000 refugees sheltered at 5 camps in Gambela and Benshangul Gumuz states. Well, with that, we're in the news. Thanks for joining us.